It was time to leave Kakamega Forest and the Rondo retreat. We were heading across the Rift Valley towards Lake Baringo, a freshwater lake in the valley, in the middle of a dry and thorny habitat. First, though, we were to visit a rubbish tip. Birders tend to like tips because they attract birds, in this case corvids. We had seen pied crow and cape crow already, but we were missing the white-necked raven, and this would be a good chance to see one. And we did, in company with a lot more pied crows. We parked at the side of the road and got out to look up at a wall across the road from us. White-necked ravens and pied crows were scavenging on the rubbish held behind the wall. Also present here were fan-tailed ravens but no Cape crows, which are known to prefer more open grassland and agricultural areas, rather than human habitation. This was the Kerio escarpment, which we were to descend on our road to Baringo. First though, a parked safari van full of birders got our attention. They had found something. Indeed they had, white-crested turacos in a spindly tree right on the side of the road. As we watched, the birds flew across the road to a small plantation that we could park next to, so we did. Although a little hidden inside the foliage, this bird gave very good views. It was an excellent find. Also present in the same small copse was a Ross's turaco. 2 turaco species. What a great start to the birding today. Overhead, using the escarpment for lift, was a steppe buzzard. And this spotted sailor butterfly was found in the undergrowth. What would a day be without speckled mousebirds? A close-by bush had some active birds. We drove a short way further down the escarpment to a lay-by where we could stop for lunch, sitting on the traffic barriers and resting our picnic boxes on our knees. A Kenya dwarf gecko scuttling down the power pole was a nice sighting here. It was to be quite a long journey, through some green and fertile areas, and past small villages and towns. The landscape started to change, becoming hotter, drier and more thorny as we approached Baringo. Here we would spend several hours looking for dry country birds before we headed for the lodge. We were warned that this country wants to kill you, referring to the vicious thorns and barbs on nearly every tree and bush. One of the first birds we found was this beautiful sunbird, although maybe a rather untidy-looking individual. The inevitable speckled mousebirds, this time tending a nest, were joined by our only white-billed buffalo weavers, some immature birds that didn't show very well. Pygmy batis showed distantly. They were to become more common as the tour went on, but then we found a real prize, three-banded courser. This was only our second courser species after the double-banded courser on our way to the Masai Mara. The first bird decided to scuttle off into the undergrowth as quick as possible, but the second sat tight, hoping that its camouflage would work. For such a strikingly marked bird, it was surprising how well it blended into the barren sandy floor. Nearby, a white-bellied go-away bird was our first of this species. These birds get their name from the loud gway call. It was really nice to see blue-naped mousebird again too. Bird sightings were coming thick and fast. Our first bristle-crowned starling was followed by emerald-spotted wood dove. What was nice was that these birds seemed to be happy to sit at the top of the trees and be seen, quite different to the skulking birds of the tropical rainforest. There were three thick-knee species that we might find in Kenya. The first, water thick-knee, and a lifer, had been found in the Mara Triangle. Now we came across the second species, spotted thick-knee. It could be very difficult to see. Back in the trees, a gabbar goshawk showed well. Another bird species we hadn't seen before in Kenya. Laughing doves were to be quite common in the next few days. And here was our last thick-knee species, the Senegal thick-knee. 2 thick-knees in a couple of hours and 3 for the trip. That was pretty good going. We had last seen Senegal thick-knee on an embankment on the Nile in Luxor, Egypt. Also here were the dainty Nam aqua doves and the bright-eyed 3-banded plover. We had last seen one of those at Lake Naivasha. On to a roosting nightjar, this time the migratory Eurasian nightjar. They like to roost in trees rather than on the ground like the square-tailed nightjar we'd seen at Rondo Retreat. It was nice to see one again after many years' absence on our part. Here too were our first white-rumped shrikes, rather large and fluffy birds as shrikes go and very gregarious. Unfortunately, they did tend to sit against the light. Well, it seems that nightjars are like buses, they all come along at once. Not that we were complaining to see a small number of slender-tailed nightjars roosting in an acacia thicket. Mind those thorns though. Here too was our first sighting of another lifer, black-throated barbet. These were to become quite common in the next few days. Also to become quite common in the vicinity was the jaunty white-browed sparrow weaver. We were looking for owls, and some roosting spots were known to our guides. First, a scramble up a pile of rocks just under the cliffs resulted in a partially obscured spotted eagle owl. Lovely views though, even if we did have to try and avoid the bees from a nearby hive. Village weavers were not at all rare here. On our way back down the rock pile, we found the sentinel of a family of rock hyrax. These animals live in largish family groups and are more active early and late as they can't properly regulate their body temperature. Another eagle owl, everything today seemed to be coming in twos. This one was a greyish eagle owl, even more obscured than the spotted eagle owl seen earlier, but still an excellent sighting. It had been a great day's birding, despite the long journey. 2 toricos, 2 mousebirds, 2 thick-knees, 2 eagle owls, and 2 nightjars, along with all the other species, was definitely not too shabby. Time now to head to our lodge, the Soy Safari Lodge, for the next 2 nights. Soy was perhaps the oddest of the lodges we were to stay in, but still comfortable, even if this tremendous huge millipede was wandering the grounds. Tomorrow we were scheduled for a morning boat ride on the lake, followed by much of the day exploring the Baringo area. It should be good. For more information, see our 3-volume travelogue, available as ebook or paperback, from Amazon. Like Mexican birding? Why not look up our videos on our channel or our travelogues on Amazon? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Don't miss the other videos in our Kenyan birding safari series.